what I was saying is, if instead of hurting others, until they face the facts, can they become a better person? Okay, I guess I didn't proofread this afterward. I wrote it down and kind of expected me to fix it later, which I'm fixing it now. Kind of ironic. Irony is a very unique being in his ways of discernment. Words aren't dead, they are full of life and origins. Notice how certain words are triggers in people. They even go off on you in their reactions. These persons are with more conflict than actual life. Irony is a vindicator, but also a liberator. When you say love, does that word not have an absolution of beauty? Irony is love's opposite, but yet the same principle, purity and honesty. This means to live and be. Irony admires those living, trying to discover, etc. Love is the exact same way, just at times more unconditional. Irony isn't just a blunt being, he has a great deal of compassion. But tolerance is the virtue here. But when persons are playing word games with others and taking life as a game, anyone who sees this reacts in a way that acknowledges the obscurity and deformations of that person. So does irony. Okay. Now this is where, quote, the conspiracy kicks in, but I think you can understand this. Irony is a part of the dark family. Dark because of the regions of awareness they expand within. Dark because it is symbolic to both space and the undiscovered regions in these beings. To not explore the mind, the self, / the self, means to have more darkness than illuminating understandings. Those who claim to be happy, but haven't taken enough time to truly understand it, but haven't taken enough time to truly understand themselves, are living a dark happiness. A blind happiness, essentially. That's off the record. To say dark, for most, rises a suspicion. In a sense, a backwards curiosity. Interesting way of putting it. Rather more directly, an avoidance. That was well put, too. Yet those who are mostly avoidant of life are the ones who don't imply understanding. Instead, follow and rely on others, platforms, belief systems, etc. This is well written, actually. They are living an unjust life. Life isn't but about interests, or what the person only wants. It's about expanding and becoming aware until the discovery of the eternal self occurs. Well put. What other reason is there to live? Earth's unnatural circumstances prove how obscure a free-for-all self-suggestive thought theme creates as consequences. This is what I like to write. It's why such beauty exists as a representation of how beings who are being hurt or are hurting can become beautiful beings as well. Which, to realize, though you may have been living in dark, to realize what if you were to illuminate all that darkness you had lived in before quantification, and those you have hurt, which is off the record, that implies an act of vengeance, but also healing. So instead of continuing to hurt others, to be as you should, the void, which was caused by the harm to others, can then fill in with assurance that that person that hurt them will no longer not only do that ever again, but will most definitely be honored to do something to help aid that person as well. At times, I think this is what's going to happen for most. This is off the record, by the way. Let me go ahead and mark where I'm at. Okay. I think what's going to happen with most of these persons who have been hurting a lot of people their lives, they're going to realize the option that they can become a guardian. And though they have done terrible things, which unnatural circumstances, really, in a sense, you can't blame them, but you know, what they did is what they did, and that's what we go by. But still, unnatural circumstances. There's a line here, but it is kind of up in the air. This is sort of new for us, but we want to give you all a chance. To whom this applies to, if you have hurt anyone, you do have the choice of being a guardian, which means to choose to be a guardian means you are, yes, essentially redeeming the interactions of the obscurities that you interacted with. I'm gonna step away from you and go to they, him, her, etc. Um, so essentially, what this means for that person, um, instead of being judged, punished, which really just creates more of a hole in that person, and it essentially just is going to either make them less interactive in life, less living. When if you give them the guardian option, they can not only redeem themselves but become a million times more than what they were before. See, that's eternal progress. We don't believe in punishing or judging, and um, I mean, obviously, those who have been a part of the deliberate limitations of others, aka Gov, that's entirely different. But we don't even have to punish them. They go to where they belong. Let's get back onto the transcript here. Earth's forced conditions reversed, and the world will be as an illuminative odyssey of both eternal quantifications, but as an entirety, complete and perfect, which is to say ultimate. This enables as an entirety to rejuvenate and eternal progress. That's the eternal expressive ways of being. I see this is getting planetary also. By which irony acknowledges the eternal potential within. Unless this being isn't trying enough to really figure this out, it's then that an irony builds within the being to realize, to be, to live, and to become. Without this force, this impulse, it's then that the self becomes putty, rather than a network of advanced potentials and beautiful perceptual depths. Those who try to escape life and try to live with no responsibilities feel the depths of irony more and more. The reality around proves in obvious ways and obvious understandings what happens when a world is controlled in such a way to promote no responsibility in ways of being. War and so many other examples that no one wants, this is how this comes to be. When persons decide to use force against others and recruit others to imply more of their force, etc., aka military, police, etc., we have fought against these governments before. It has gotten worse because of their greed for power and also technology that is against us, such as bombs, certain frequency waves that can trigger certain behaviors in the mind, and much more, which that is, I forget what device they use, but they got devices that can actually push people to do certain things. Not entirely specifics like a robot, but they can make a neighborhood, certain neighborhoods, really bad. The government uses extremely, really obscure ways. But irony still resides within these governments. They have no choice but to face the facts. The day the government falls is the day their own end of the world begins for themselves. That has already happened. They have just yet to feel the bottom of their own holes dug. This is a collective perspective, not just a word or being, but a gathered assortment of facts and elements that creates enough parallel examples to discern as an ultimate irony. How to clarify that bit more? That's a pretty good one. I wrote this quite some time ago. Let's see. But a gathered assortment of facts. Okay. Enough parallel examples to discern as ultimate irony. I think essentially what this is saying that to know the quantifications is to know the quantifications of ways of discernment, because